The announcement today by Mike Pompeo that the United States pulling out of the INF treaty, not totally unexpected. The U.S. government has been saying that Russia is in violation of the treaty since I think it was 2014.
2014.
With the introduction of a new long-range missile that Russia had introduced. This is a treaty that was signed 30 years ago, I guess, that basically took thousands, a couple of thousand, I should say, ballistic and cruise missiles off the board, as they say, I think. And it was supported by on-site inspections that allowed both sides to trust and verify compliance with the treaty. And Trump has decided to unilaterally pull out of the treaty. Here is Mike Pompeo explaining supposedly why.
Russia has jeopardized the United States' security interest, and we can no longer be restricted by the treaty while Russia shamelessly violates it. If Russia does not return to full and verifiable compliance with the treaty within this 6-month period, by verifiably destroying its INF-violating missiles, their launchers, and associated equipment, the treaty will terminate.
Not sure why this is happening now, per se, and not sure what the 6 months is about either. That puts us into the middle of the summer. I'm not 100% sure what that's about, but
I'm not unconvinced that Trump doesn't want to campaign on it.
Well,
I think
that's why it's weird, I think, to do it now and to talk about it 6 months from now, right?
What do you mean campaign on it?
I think that what we talked about with Joseph Cirincione when I had him on a couple weeks ago first of all, there's a history to this, and all Bush was trying to pull out of he destroyed the ABM treaty to do the missile defense shield fantasy. So Republican people don't like these arms control agreements. And I also think that what we kind of established this through line with Cirincione, where he said there's all of these discredited, ridiculous 50s and 60s Strangelove ideas that have been rebranded and are back in Washington. And he said, like, part of it is just like getting our mojo back, our vital bodily fluids. And so I think that, it wouldn't be a prime thing, but I could see him saying something about we're going to have the best arsenal in the same way we would say build that wall.
Yeah, that's why I just find the timing just weird to do it this far
I can't
out.
tell you the timing, but I'm sure he'll hit it.
But
could it overlap with some of the? I don't usually go to the Russia place, but because this overlap with some of the heat around Russia and him being like, "Yo, you're talking about how I have a deal with Russia. I just junked this whole treaty."
No one's been harder.
I actually think that that's what is driving a lot of this attempt to show that he's being tough with Russia. Frankly, I'm not sure that Russia necessarily cares. If they wouldn't be happy,
they're
in violation.
Totally
so
right. That's not.
This is going to make them not in violation. Meanwhile, Oregon's Senator Jeff Merkley, Elizabeth Warren, Kristen Gillibrand, Ed Markey, Ron Wyden, and Bernie Sanders, along with Kamala Harris, Sherrod Brown, Tammy Baldwin, and Van Hollen were there as well. Those names sound familiar. It's because most of them are running for president. And they introduced the Prevention of Arms Race Act of 2019, and it basically calls on a series of measures. It acknowledges that Russia has broken the treaty, but it calls on a series of measures to try and inhibit Trump's unilateral move. So,
props to Ed Markey, though. He's been an arms control guy for his whole career.
Yeah, and this is going to be one of the nice things about having 7 senators or 6 senators running for president, because they're all going to be outracing each other to do the right thing. We don't have, Joe Manchin's not going to be running. And so everyone's going to be pulled to the left, theoretically, and pushed to do the right thing. It won't necessarily make a big difference in terms of legislation, but in the short term, but it'll make a big difference going forward. And we'll talk about this a little bit maybe later in the program too, because there are more than three, but 3 or 4 major pieces of legislation to reduce the cost of drugs in this country that are all being presented by presidential candidates.